Let me ask you something that no one else has probably asked you lately. Have you woken up lately feeling less? Less energy, less fire, less of the man you remember being. Maybe mornings used to greet you with a certain spark, a familiar stiffness, a sense of readiness for the day. And now, silence. Your body feels quieter. Your confidence isn't gone, but it doesn't stand quite as tall. And while you tell yourself it's just aging, just part of the deal, something inside you wonders, is it really? What if I told you the issue isn't your testosterone? What if I told you the real reason your manhood doesn't respond like it used to isn't hormonal at all but circulatory? And that the solution isn't a pill, a pump, or a supplement, but a root, a vegetable, one that's probably sitting in the bottom drawer of your fridge, forgotten. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how one simple, often overlooked food, when eaten at the right time, in the right way, can help restore the blood flow, vitality, and responsiveness you thought were gone for good. We're going to walk through the real science, the everyday mistakes that get in the way, and how to build a simple morning habit that has helped men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond feel alive again, in every sense of the word. Let's begin with the truth you were never told. The real reason erections fade isn't what you think. Here's what I want you to know right away. Erections don't stop working just because you turn 60. That's a myth. The body doesn't wake up one day and say, "That's it, you're done." What really happens is far quieter and more fixable. As we age, our circulation begins to shift. Arteries lose elasticity. Blood doesn't surge quite as quickly. And the internal signal that used to whisper, "Let's go," now barely mumbles. You probably heard of nitric oxide, the invisible gas your body produces to expand blood vessels, relax arteries, and allow blood to move where it's needed. It's essential for getting and maintaining an erection. When you were younger, your body made plenty of it. But after 60, your nitric oxide production can drop by more than half. That means a highway that once carried oxygen-rich blood to the most vital parts of your body is now more like a country road with potholes. You're not broken. You're underfueled. And here's the most important part. You can fix it, naturally, because the body doesn't forget how to respond. It just needs to be reminded. Where blood goes, life follows. Most men think of erections as a sexual function, but I see them as a circulatory signal. If blood isn't flowing where it used to the heart, the brain, the groin, it's not just your performance that's affected. It's your confidence, your sense of self, your emotional connection. And for many men, their relationship suffers long before they realize the root of the issue. I've sat across from hundreds of good men who blame themselves, who lower their eyes and said things like, "I guess my best years are behind me." And I always tell them the same thing. No, they're not, but your blood vessels need support. Now let's talk about the quiet hero in your fridge and how it holds the power to help restore what you thought was lost. The root that restores flow and why it works. Let's talk about beetroot. Yes, beets, the deep red vegetable that people either love or push aside. But inside this earthy root is something your body is quietly begging for, dietary nitrates. When consumed, your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide, the very compound that tells your arteries to open, your blood to move, and your body to respond. And when nitric oxide rises, so does your energy, your blood pressure settles. And that silent stiffness in the morning, it starts to return. I didn't always believe it could be this simple. But then I started seeing results. I had a man, let's call him Charles, 71, former engineer. He hadn't had a natural erection in over a year. We made one small change, a glass of beet juice each morning. After 2 weeks, he called me. He was quiet at first. Then he said, "I feel like myself again." Not younger, not someone else. Himself. And that's the magic of restoring circulation. It doesn't make you someone new. It brings you back to you. What beets actually do inside your body. Here's what's happening when you eat beets. Step 1, you chew. Bacteria in your mouth convert dietary nitrate into nitrite. Then, once swallowed, your gut and bloodstream continue that transformation. And finally, that nitrite becomes nitric oxide. It's silent. It's invisible. But inside your blood vessels, it's like throwing open the windows after a long winter. Your arteries expand. Your blood flows. Oxygen reaches the muscles, the brain, the pelvic floor. And in time, your responsiveness returns. Not through force, but through chemistry. This isn't a theory. This is how the body is designed. Beets don't stimulate you the way a pill might. They don't override your system. They support it. They nourish it. They tell it, you're still needed. It's not just physical, it's emotional. There's something sacred about a man waking up and realizing his body still works. Not for show, not for performance, but because it means his spirit is still engaged. I remember another man, Mr. Anderson, 67, a retired teacher who hadn't had a full erection in 8 months. He came to me not just worried, but ashamed. "I feel like my body's betrayed me," he said. But what he didn't know was that his body wasn't betraying him. It was waiting for the right signal. We gave it to him, half a cup of beet juice every morning. 2 weeks later, he called. "It happened," he said. "No pills, no pressure, just me," and it felt real again. What he regained wasn't just arousal. It was dignity. When and how to use beets for maximum results. Let's talk about the how. Timing matters more than you think. Your body is most responsive to nitric oxide production first thing in the morning, when your testosterone is highest and your blood vessels are most open. So here's the recommendation. Drink beet juice on an empty stomach, or eat a few slices of roasted beetroot before your first meal. For convenience, a scoop of high-quality beetroot powder in warm water also works. And here's a detail most people miss. Don't brush your teeth right before or right after. Why? Because the bacteria on your tongue help start the conversion process. Strong mouthwash or brushing too soon can interfere with the reaction that makes nitric oxide. It's a small shift, but it makes a big difference. The most common breakfast mistake that cancels your gains. Here's something else I've learned the hard way. Some men try the beet routine but see no results. Why? Because of what they eat right after. Processed breakfast meats, like bacon and sausage, constrict blood vessels. Refined carbs, like white toast and muffins, spike insulin, crash hormones. Too much caffeine on an empty stomach raises cortisol, tightens arteries. All of these things block what the beets are trying to do. So if you want the full benefit, pair your beets with healthy fats, avocado, eggs, nuts. Avoid sugar-heavy cereals, pastries, and sodium-packed meats. Stick to whole grains, lean proteins, and water-based hydration. This isn't a diet. It's a shift, a choice. One that supports your goal instead of undoing it. The first signs that it's working. Now you might be wondering, how long does this take? In the first few days, the changes are subtle. You may notice better color in your skin, a sense of lightness when you walk, slightly deeper sleep, a little more mental clarity. By the 4th or 5th day, you may feel more warmth in your hands and feet. That's blood moving. That's nitric oxide doing its job. And by day 7, for some men, the morning wake-up surprise returns naturally. No pill, no device, just your body doing what it was always meant to do. Coming up in part 2, this isn't the end of the journey. In the next part of this series, we're going to look at the real biology behind morning erections and why they matter, how to turn this into a lasting ritual that reclaims your masculinity, the overlooked nutrients and habits that enhance blood flow even more, and how to protect your gains for the long term. You're not broken. You're not too old. You're not finished. Your body is listening. And this simple morning ritual might just be the signal it's been waiting for. I end part 1. You discovered something powerful, that your body hasn't given up on you. It's just waiting for the right support. That circulation, not testosterone, is often the key to stronger erections, and that a simple vegetable, beetroot, can restart the conversation between your brain, your blood vessels, and your sense of self. But the journey doesn't stop with knowing what to eat. This part is about something deeper, how to turn that knowledge into a sustainable rhythm, one that not only improves how you perform, but how you live. Let's start with something you've probably experienced before, even if you didn't fully understand it. The truth about morning erections and why they matter more than you think. Somewhere along the way, we stopped talking about morning wood, maybe because it felt juvenile, maybe because it stopped showing up, or maybe because we thought it didn't mean anything. But here's the truth. Morning erections are more than a random side effect of sleep. They are a built-in health check, a barometer of your blood flow, a window into your hormone levels, your vascular function, and even your neurological health. When you wake up with a spontaneous erection, it tells us something important. Your body still knows how to turn the system on, without external stimulation, without pressure, and without you trying to perform. That signal isn't just physical. It's emotional. It says, I'm still here. Now, when those morning signals go missing, it doesn't mean you're broken. But it is your body's way of whispering that blood flow may be faltering, that nitric oxide levels may be low, that stress or poor sleep or inflammation may be getting in the way. The good news? They often come back faster than you think. I've seen men go from months of silence to waking up in week 2 of their beat routine with that familiar morning pressure and tears in their eyes because they thought it was gone forever. Why a morning ritual works better than a quick fix. Let's face it, we live in a world of shortcuts. Pills, powders, promises. One-click solutions. But here's what I've learned in 3 decades of helping men heal. A shortcut might get you somewhere fast, but a ritual keeps you there. A ritual grounds you. It builds trust between your mind and body. It tells your nervous system, you are safe, you are supported, and you are not forgotten. This is why the men who see the biggest changes aren't the ones who look for the strongest supplement. They're the ones who build a repeatable rhythm. They get up, they hydrate, they drink beet juice or eat roasted slices. They take a short walk. They nourish themselves. And they repeat that every morning until the routine itself becomes a kind of medicine. How movement unlocks the full power of beets. Beetroot alone is powerful, but when paired with light movement, even just a 10-minute walk, the effect multiplies. Why? Because nitric oxide works best when blood is moving. Circulation is not a passive event. You have to give your blood vessels a reason to open. That's why I often tell my patients, after your morning beet juice, put on your shoes and go outside. Breathe. Move. Let your legs carry that oxygen-rich blood to your pelvis. Let your body remember what it feels like to be used. You don't need a gym. You don't need sweat. You just need motion. And as your body responds, as you feel warmth, alertness, clarity, you'll begin to realize this is more than circulation. This is aliveness. You are still a sexual being, even without a partner. One of the biggest blocks I see in older men isn't physical. It's psychological. They say things like, "What's the point? I'm not dating. My partner's gone. That part of life is over." And I tell them, gently but firmly, you don't need someone else to be a sexual being. You were born into a body with nerve endings, desire, chemistry. That doesn't expire with your relationship status. You still deserve to feel pleasure. You still deserve to feel connection, even if that connection is with yourself. In fact, reconnecting with yourself is where the real healing begins. Because when you bring awareness to your body, even just during a morning shower, or while applying lotion, or during intentional self-touch, you're telling your brain, I still care about you. And when your brain believes that, it starts flipping switches you thought were long turned off. The testosterone myth, and how you can influence it naturally. Now let's talk about testosterone. For years, you've been told it's everything. That low testosterone is the reason you feel tired, foggy, unmotivated. That if you just get a shot or a gel or a prescription, everything will fix itself. Sometimes that's true, but often it's only part of the picture. What I want you to understand is this. Testosterone doesn't just fall randomly. It responds to your lifestyle, and especially to your sense of vitality. When you move more, sleep deeper, eat better, and yes, feel turned on by life, your body responds by increasing testosterone. I had a patient once say, I thought I needed testosterone to feel more like a man. But once I started acting like a man again, choosing strength, showing up for myself, eating right, the levels took care of themselves. That shift from waiting for a fix to embodying vitality is everything. And morning rituals built around circulation are one of the best kept secrets to stimulating your natural testosterone. How food and hormones work together, and what to avoid. Let's go deeper into the food side of this. Beets help produce nitric oxide. That much we know. But what you eat with or right after matters just as much. Some foods kill the momentum before it even begins. Processed meats, like bacon and sausage, constrict blood vessels. Sugary cereals or pastries spike blood sugar, crash hormones. Strong coffee on an empty stomach spikes cortisol, tightens arteries. Mouthwash or brushing right before eating kills oral bacteria needed for nitrate conversion. If you're trying to rebuild circulation, these habits can quietly undo your work. Instead, pair your beets with a boiled egg or some chia pudding, half an avocado on sprouted grain toast, a handful of walnuts, a light herbal tea or warm lemon water. The idea is to support blood flow, not sabotage it. And the cleaner your first meal is, the more responsive your blood vessels will be for the rest of the day. The emotional side of rebuilding manhood. Let's take a step back from biology for a moment, because I found that when a man's body stops working the way it used to, something else goes quiet inside him. His confidence, his joy, his sense of direction. It's like losing a signal you didn't know you depended on. That's why this journey, This return to circulation, to strength, to self-care is about more than erections. It's about dignity. It's about agency. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing someone who hasn't given up. And that's what happens when you stick with a ritual like this. You begin to rebuild trust with yourself. Each time you wake up and nourish your body, move your limbs, protect your circulation, you're saying, I'm still here. That statement, even whispered, becomes a roar. What happens in weeks 2 through 4? By now, you might be thinking, okay, what can I really expect if I commit? Here's what I've seen with hundreds of men. Week 1, subtle improvements, easier mornings, better sleep, fewer dips in energy. Week 2, increased morning firmness, stronger response to touch, more frequent urges. Week 3, blood pressure may improve, walking feels lighter, more emotional openness. Week 4, confidence shifts, erections feel more spontaneous, performance stabilizes. This isn't magic. It's physiology working in your favor. It's what your body wanted all along. And the best part? Once you experience this momentum, you won't want to stop, because it's not about a quick win. It's about reclaiming rhythm, a way of living that supports your manhood day by day. Coming up in part 3. In the final part of this journey, we're going to build your full morning protocol step by step, address the deeper emotional triggers of self-doubt and avoidance, explore how to sustain your results beyond 30 days, and give you the mindset shift that turns this from a fix into a lifestyle. Because this isn't just about getting better blood flow. It's about becoming the man who wakes up with presence, who leads his day instead of chasing it, who looks in the mirror and sees someone fully, confidently alive. Let's begin with a simple truth. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. And not just any method, a grounded, repeatable morning rhythm that wakes up your body, nourishes your hormones, and reminds your mind that you're still a force to be reckoned with. That's what we're building here. A ritual for men who are tired of watching their vitality slip through their fingers. A reset for men who want to feel like themselves again, without pills, pressure, or pretending. So let's walk through this step by step. By the end of this, you'll have a complete, easy-to-follow protocol you can begin tomorrow morning. Step 1. Wake with purpose time, 5 to 10 minutes. Before anything else touches your day, not the news, not your phone, not your to-do list, you pause. You breathe. Stand by a window or step outside if possible. Take 5 deep breaths. Feel your feet. Roll your shoulders back. Tell your body, we're starting today with intention. This isn't new age fluff. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your calm, restorative state, and it tells your heart and brain, today, we move with purpose. Step 2, beat power, time, 2 minutes. Now comes the circulatory upgrade. You've already learned how beets fuel nitric oxide production, relax your blood vessels, and restore flow to your lower body. But this is when you actually use it. Here are 3 easy options. Fresh juice. Blend 1 medium beet with water and lemon. Roasted slices. Eat half a cup, about the size of your palm. Powdered option. Stir 1 scoop of beetroot powder into warm water. Choose what fits your lifestyle. No excuses, just consistency. Drink or eat this on an empty stomach before anything else. That's when your body converts nitrates to nitric oxide most efficiently. Step 3. Gentle movement. Time, 10 to 15 minutes. Now that nitric oxide is being produced, it's time to circulate it. You don't need high-intensity workouts. You need flow. Try this. A brisk walk around the block. Marching in place while breathing deeply. Light stretching or yoga. Even walking up and down stairs with intention. This is where oxygen-rich blood gets delivered to your extremities, including the pelvic region. It's not about burning calories. It's about keeping tissue alive. Your erections, energy, and hormones all depend on this movement. Step 4. A hormone-friendly breakfast. Time, 10 minutes. You've fueled your system. Now you stabilize it. Avoid sugary cereal, white bread, processed meats, strong coffee on an empty stomach. Mouthwash right before your beet intake. Instead, choose 2 boiled eggs with avocado, a chia seed pudding with berries, whole grain toast with almond butter, a small serving of Greek yogurt and walnuts. The goal is to give your body healthy fats, fiber, and protein. These nourish your vascular system and support hormone production, particularly testosterone. You're not eating clean. You're eating smart. Step 5. Reflection or reconnection. Optional but powerful. This may sound surprising, but what you think after your meal matters. Your mental state influences hormones like cortisol, dopamine, and oxytocin, all of which play roles in libido, mood, and arousal. So before diving into emails or tasks, give yourself just 2 minutes of stillness. Journaling a single thought, saying a quiet thank you, listening to one inspiring song, or simply placing a hand on your heart and breathing. It's not about meditation. It's about presence. And presence is the most masculine energy there is. The deeper reason this works. Why does this all matter so much? Because when a man reclaims his morning, he reclaims his momentum. He stops living reactively. He starts leading again in his body, his mind, and his relationships. I've watched men go from slouched and silent to upright and engaged, not because they changed their personality, but because they gave their body what it needed. And in return, their body said, "Thank you." What happens next? The long game. Let's set expectations. First 7 days, you may feel lighter, clearer, a slight mood lift. Day 10 to 14, circulation improves. Erections may begin to return. Confidence flickers. Day 21 to 30, hormones recalibrate. Energy becomes more stable. Desire returns. Day 45 plus, the ritual becomes part of who you are. Not a task, but a tone you set for your life. This is not a sprint. It's a rhythm. And rhythms are how men rebuild strength after 60. The one shift that changes everything. Most men who struggle don't lack willpower. They lack strategy and permission. Permission to feel pleasure again. Permission to care for themselves without guilt. Permission to ask for more from their body, not in anger, but in partnership. Here's what I want you to understand. You're not doing this because you're broken. You're doing this because you still matter. You still have chapters left to write. You still have mornings left to own. And you still have blood vessels, muscles, and nerve endings that respond to your attention. Your body may be older, but it is not done. The masculine identity reclaimed. In every culture, masculinity has meant strength, leadership, virility, presence. But as we age, we're told that masculinity is something we're supposed to grow out of. I call that bluff. True masculinity doesn't disappear. It evolves. It softens. It becomes wiser, less about dominance, more about depth. And when you start reclaiming your circulation, your energy, your sensuality, you're not just chasing performance. You're claiming a more rooted version of yourself. A man who shows up with clarity, who doesn't need applause, who knows his worth even when he's silent. That kind of man changes the world around him. And it all starts with how he treats his mornings. Final words from one man to another. If you've made it this far, reading, listening, reflecting, I want you to know something. You're already ahead of 90% of men your age. Not because you've solved everything, but because you care enough to try. Most men drift, but not you. You're steering again. That one choice, that one turn of the wheel, that's how we rewrite our story. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 mornings, commit to the Beet protocol. Pair it with movement. Make your first meal hormone friendly. Cut out the breakfast sabotagers. Reflect or breathe for 2 minutes before jumping into the day. Then watch. Watch how your body begins to come back to life. How your thoughts feel lighter. How your confidence quietly begins to walk into the room with you again. And when you notice that, whether it's on day 6 or 16, take a moment, smile, and say to yourself, I did that. Because you did. And it's just the beginning. If this message spoke to you, drop a 1 in the comments so I know you're in. Share this video with someone you care about, a brother, a friend, a father, or simply save it so you can return to it when the world gets loud again. Because we all forget. But now you have a path back to strength, to energy, to manhood, to life.